To make a simple beef wrap, what I will be using is this tortilla bread that I bought from Sainsbury's, but by all means you can make your own one from scratch. So for example, if you're Somali, you can make kimis and you can use that to make your beef wrap. I'll also be using the Shazan's beef, which I bought from Tesco's. I will be using coriander, spring onions, mint. So I'll have some mint leaves. I'll be using some tomatoes, so baby plum tomatoes, and 1 pepper. Another essential ingredient that you will need is a cube. So you can use, I'm using a vegetable cube, and you can use any, you can, for example, use a chicken one. So I'm just using vegetable stock cubes. Onto a preheated pan, you add your mincemeat, and at the same time, you also add your chicken cube. Your stock. So it can be chicken, but in this case, I'm using vegetable stock cubes. Make sure your heat is to the highest setting. Another thing to keep in mind is you don't need oil because the mincemeat will produce its own oil and water. So don't put oil on it. As you can see, it's starting to produce its own oil. So we just wait for it to cook and we just crush the stock, the flavouring stock, like so. So all of that oil you see is produced by the mincemeat. On its own. Once your mincemeat is fully cooked, you lower the heat to midpoint. And then you add your spring onions, mint, and coriander. So you add the spring onions, mint, and coriander. Once your mincemeat and your spring onions are very cooked, the spring onions will crunching sound to it, so that should be fine. And the mincemeat might be a little bit brown, but that's great. It means that it's fully cooked, and now we can start preparing our wrap. So you can turn off your heating and just leave the pan on the cooker. Onto the wrap, you add your mincemeat. Onto the bread. One thing I forgot to mention is when you are adding your your coriander, make sure you're generous with the coriander because it gives it a nice flavor. So now we'll just roll our wrap. Then we add our green pepper and tomatoes, which will give it a nice crunchy and flavorful taste to it. and then we will just wrap it around. And there you have it, your mincemeat wrap.